Welcome back to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton. I'm Connor Williams, joined by Ollie Hayes, and this is the extra time review on the Manchester City Everton game, which finished 2-0. Um, First things first, mate, what were your thoughts on the lineup when it was announced?
You know what, you can have no complaints, can you? I think it was unchanged from the Spurs game. Yeah, no complaints from me. I think it was always going to be a tough game, whoever you put out in the starting 11 against Manchester City. And I think, every player that played against Spurs and got that 2-2 draw didn't really show any problems with being in the starting 11 again a week later. So yeah, I was pretty happy going into the game with the starting 11.
Yeah, same. I mean, you can't really when your squad's as thin as ours as well, you can't really start to try and pick holes in it, can you?
It's painful, isn't it? The amount of injuries we've got at the moment. I know seeing Anana on the bench at the weekend and him back in the matchday squad was positive because, as you said there, we've been so thin on the ground with players and reinforcements have been really hard to come by. Idrissa Gana Gueye only just coming back from the AFCON as well. That's a really positive thing. So I think it definitely bodes well for the next few games, the squad that we did have on Saturday, because we've got players coming back now, and especially in midfield, because I think, at the start of the month, we had Dwight McNeil playing central midfield against Fulham, and, to have Idrissa Gana Gueye at least back fit, and then Amadou Onana on the bench as well, who's getting back to full fitness. I think that was positive.
Yeah, definitely. What were your thoughts on the first half? Like personally, I thought we were good, defensively pretty solid. Had a couple of chances, nothing clinical, but I think we were like one or two passes off. The commentators were saying like when you play the likes of City, when you get your break, you've got to be a bit perfect with your
Hmm.
passes, which I don't think we were. But what were your thoughts on the first half?
I was really happy, to be honest. I thought, I was actually at the game on Saturday, and I did think, we'd get turned over quite easily, and we'd go into the first half and maybe concede an early goal, but it didn't really happen. We limited City to maybe one, two clear-cut chances, which came right at the end of the half as we were hanging on in added time. So I think the first half we defended well, we stuck to the game plan, and as you said there, you do have to take those chances. It's the fine margins against teams like Manchester City because one misplaced pass and it falls to Kevin De Bruyne and he'll cut you open so easily. So I think that was the one thing I was a little bit disappointed seeing from Dominic Calvert-Lewin. I don't think his link-up play was as good as it has been in recent weeks. I think, he played a few passes here and there which weren't into feet or were just a little bit, you know, short of accuracy, and to see that, I think especially against a top team against Manchester City, you're going to be punished, and I think we were probably a little bit lucky to get away with that in the first half. But defensively, we were absolutely sound. I thought Ben Godfrey, James Tarkowski, Jared Branthwaite, I thought they were fantastic throughout, and yeah, it does just it keeps us positive defensively. We've got a really good defensive record now, and to keep Manchester City to one or two clear cut chances in the first half was really really positive.
Yeah, we frustrated them as well. Half time, Pep Guardiola looked very vented, and I think it was a clear sign as soon as they came back out. I think it was like De Bruyne, wasn't it? Was already warming up,
Mm.
pretty much straight away. So he'd been told to, get ready. Just shows how much we frustrated him, really, doesn't it? I think Cal Walker
Yeah, yeah.
might have come on or was going off, one or the other.
Yeah, yeah. And I think going into half time, it gave us a mentality boost, didn't it? And as you said there, it frustrated Manchester City that they had to, rely on Kevin De Bruyne. As you said, he was warming up straight away. I think, it gave us a massive boost because in recent years, we've rocked up to these big six teams, gone 1-0 down in the first half, and then it looks to be game over, doesn't it? So, that is one thing that I'm happy with is the mentality shift to go into half time, get to half time at 0-0, and it gives you a boost then. And I know we didn't get the result come full time, but you know, games like these against, you look at your Chelsea's, Liverpool's, Manchester United's, they haven't really got the quality that Manchester City have got. So in a game like that, if you can limit it to 0-0 and go to these places and keep them out for the first half, I think we're more likely to get points, especially in the second half of the season where we've got a few tough tests. We have to go to Arsenal on the final day. We have to play Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. These games, if we stay in these games at half time, you get your chance in the second half. You take it, you win 1-0, I think, and that's really positive for me.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Arsenal, a tough one, but Chelsea, I mean, the optimist in me thinks there's no reason why we can't nick that one.
Mm.
We also have Liverpool as well towards the end, but I think no matter how well we're performing, the derby is just one of those that I don't think many fans sort of can ever be so positive about. Yeah, so obviously played well really in the first half. Second half, Haaland's first goal, a referee's dubious corner. Once again,
Yeah.
going to be talking about referees and VAR and all that. And then obviously Ghana losing it for Haaland, losing Haaland for an easy finish. What were your thoughts on it? Because we defended so well up until that point.
It's a difficult one because, you can't give Erling Haaland that much space in the box. You can't give him the opportunity to slot it because you know he's going to score. And especially a player like him who's been injured for what, about 2 months now. I think, you know, he's wanting to get on that score sheet and he's wanting to get that record going again so he can finish the season strong. If you give him that opportunity in the box, he's going to take it. And yeah, as you said there, the dubious corner, I personally thought straight away when I was in the ground, I thought it looked dodgy. And I turned to my mate and I said, we're going to concede it. I can feel it. Just because, you're, as an Everton fan, you always, the cynical side of me always feels like we're going to concede off a dubious corner. And that's exactly what happened. And we could sit here for hours, couldn't we, talking about bad refereeing performances and bad refereeing decisions because we've had our fair share this season and this is no different. But yeah, the second one, it's kind of coming, isn't it? You either finish that game 1-1 where you nick a lucky goal on the break because you're pressing, or Manchester City go up the other end and take it because you've opened yourself up defensively, which is obviously what we had to do. Yeah, obviously Jared Branthwaite was kind of cast aside by Erling Haaland going going in behind, wasn't he? But you know, a top striker like Erling Haaland, 1-on-1, 9 times out of 10, he's gonna put the ball away. So for me, it was a difference between, you know, a top striker and a striker who's struggling for form and can't find the net. And I think, on a different day, if Dominic Calvert-Lewin's firing, a chance falls to him there, and we maybe get a goal, a lucky goal. So yeah, I can have no complaints really. It's just a top striker, isn't he? He was always going to score at some point, and it just so happened to be against Everton.
Yeah, I think that's what happens when you're when one of your players on your bench is worth more than the entire squad you're facing, isn't it? Sort of like, but yeah, Bramford I felt a bit sorry for because he's a big lad, but Erling Haaland's also. I think people also underestimated that. Erling Haaland's not exactly a slouch, as he's a big lad. And like you said, you can't let him have any time or space because he is just going to finish it. What were your thoughts on the subs? Obviously, going a couple of like a goal down, we made some changes. I think it's the roundabout. We made the first one because of Godfrey's injury, but then waited till the Deitch time, about in the 77th minute, wasn't it, for the rest? What were your thoughts on the subs? Because I know he gets a lot of stick for
Uh,
these.
Yeah, he does get a lot of stick, and I'm kind of swaying more towards giving him the stick than the defending him because I quite like seeing reinforcements on about 55, 60 minutes just to get a fresh bit of fresh energy into the team. Seamus Coleman came on, didn't he? He looked okay. I think in a game against Manchester City, you're up against players like Phil Foden, Erling Haaland, De Bruyne. In a game like that, he's gonna struggle. Seamus Coleman's not exactly a spring chicken anymore, is he? Um, yeah, who else came on off that? Beto came on for Dominic Calvert-Lewin. I thought Beto looked all right. I think, he was unlucky with the Amadou Onana pass that he just delayed that split second and Beto was already offside. And obviously Beto went through, but, he should be scoring that even if he is offside. And yeah, Lewis Dobbin came on late on, didn't he? And again, he looks like a player who can offer a lot in this last part of the season because he's energy. He's a young player. He likes to chase the ball. He's very good on the ball. He's quite skillful. And you know, we saw it against Chelsea in December. That goal he scored off the bench, there's no reason why he can't do that again towards the end of the season. So I think the subs for me were made probably at the wrong time. I think we were more reactionary than proactive in our subs and our decisions. But, in a game against Manchester City, you're going to probably be more reactionary than proactive because, you know, you're chasing a game. You want to sit on what you've got. You want to keep possession. You want to keep it tight. Maybe Dyche thought, I don't want to bring one on here because, I don't want to upset the balance. I don't want a player to come in cold and have to try and, adapt to a quick game, in very, very quick time. So I think, yeah, there's pros and cons to what Dyche did, but I would probably like to see him make subs a little bit earlier, just, especially against teams that, we're going to be in the game, especially against Crystal Palace on Monday night. If it's not working and we're in a bit of a battle, I'd like to see reinforcements on 50, 55 minutes.
Yeah, I agree. I think Chermiti and Dobbin were the last two, weren't they, with 2 and then 1 minute to go. I'd have liked to see one of them come on before Onana did, really, and
Yeah.
a couple of bit sooner. I don't know what the only issue I have with when he does that, and all, he's not the only manager, but like when you bring players on with like 2 minutes to go, what do you expect them to do?
Yeah.
I do like Dobbin though. When we were against Spurs, and he came on, I was saying to a couple of people I was near, I was like, he runs at people, which is something we don't have in maybe Dan Zuma, but we don't see an awful lot of him. But we don't have
Yeah.
players who are skillful who try and take people on, and cause a bit. And Chamiti as well, I think, has shown in the, he could have scored against Tottenham if his body was the right way. I
Yeah.
think he's shown he's probably going to be quite useful, especially under Sean Dyche when he's 6'4". You imagine it's not going to be another Weghorst where he can't header. So, you'd hope for Dyche that that might be his key moving forward. Um, what were your full-time thoughts? And you said, obviously you said can't really complain. It is one of them, isn't it? It's Man City. Their squad is incredibly good. They're treble winners for a reason, but we only got beat 2-0. And I think, first one was dubious. And then the second one, like you said, we were trying to chase. And I think just mental break, it was like 13 minutes between the goals. A mental
Mhm.
break allowed the second one as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very cautious of saying, yeah, it's, a good result because obviously we've not won. We've not got a draw. That's, we need to keep points on the board to try and stay in this league. And I'm very cautious that I don't want to kind of just write it off because, there was things that we could have improved on, as a team, accuracy of passes has to be better, especially against Manchester City, but even against teams like Crystal Palace and West Ham, which we've got in the next two games. I think if we try and refine that and just have a bit more action in our passes. It'll make sure that we are creating chances a bit more rather than just wasting chances. So there's definitely stuff to improve on. But as you said there, it's Manchester City. They're a top side. They've got an unreal squad. And yeah, I was happy with the performance defensively, but attacking going forward, I think there is things to work on.
Yeah, I'm pretty much the same as you. Let's regroup. Like you said, we've got West Ham, we've got Palace, and we've got Brighton, who I think teams like us, teams like Luton are figuring out that there is a clink in their armor, and it's not pressing them like madmen. If you hold off them, I don't think they do very well with that. So we just got to bounce back for those games. Who did you think played well against City, and who did you? I feel like I know who you're going to say could improve, because I think it's everyone's same person. But who do you think could have improved as well? Could have had a better game.
For me, there's two that come to mind that played well. I thought Jarrad Branthwaite was fantastic. I think defensively, he's just going to be our gem until the end of the season that we have to rely on because he's so good at reading the game. He's a big lad, great in the air, quick as well. I think he showed all his attributes really, really well against Manchester City. And another one was Idrissa Gana Gueye. I thought he was very good breaking things up in the midfield, being that link between defense and attack, and just trying to create things because, you know, as we said before, chances are going to be few and far between against Manchester City. So I think he did well of retrieving the ball, which is something he likes to do. And as well, trying to link up between Calvert-Lewin and McNeil and Jack Harrison. I think he did that well. And also, I'll give a mention to Onana as well. I thought he was fantastic coming on to, in such a difficult game to come into cold, especially after an injury which he's had. I think he coped really, really well. And he's showing that he has got that potential there. A lot of Everton fans have criticised him in recent weeks and months because, he's not really showing that level of consistency that we need as a Premier League team. However, he's got all the attributes there. And I think if he plays like he did against Manchester City from the start against Crystal Palace, we'll tear them apart. Um, Player to improve. I think, yeah, I did touch on it before. It's Dominic Calvert-Lewin. I think it's really frustrating seeing Calvert-Lewin play the way he is at the moment because he looks like he's one devoid of all confidence, like similar to what Neil Maupay was last season. It's like it's like Neil Maupay couldn't buy a goal last season, and I feel like it's that kind of feeling for Dominic Calvert-Lewin this year. But yeah, just to improve as well, just that link up play. If he's getting the ball into feet and he's trying to hold up the ball, that pass needs to be accurate, whether it's finding, a midfielder or Dwight McNeil or Jack Harrison. That pass needs to be accurate to give us these opportunities to create chances. And for me, he didn't really do that against Manchester City on Saturday. So I think, yeah, that's the one area for me and the one player that probably needs to improve against Crystal Palace.
Yeah, I mean he's got an all right record against Palace. He tends to do quite well against them. Really hope he gets a goal out. I'm hoping
Oh,
it's
I
one of
do.
those, once his goal comes, confidence will be, instilled back on him. And I don't think there's a better team than Palace for him to do it against because he does seem to enjoy playing against them. So
Yeah, yeah. And that famous goal as well, that must be riding on his mind a little bit. So if you can recreate that, it'll do us a lot of good on Monday.
yeah, exactly. So, but that is all we've got time for. Thank you for joining me, mate. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks for having me on, mate. I appreciate it. Nice one.
Don't forget, guys, you could like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment your thoughts down below. We look forward to reading them and see you soon.